forcing turnovers, 5 seconds called. I think he's happy about that.
Fifth meeting with Houston Christian. The average margin of victory in the previous 4 wins over Houston Christian, 45.8. Head coach Fitty's going to call a timeout as the lead balloons. So many players are not willing to make that effort. She was. Another block for TCU. That's their 4th block of the ball game already. Beautiful pass inside. Nice layup.
Played D1 or 3rd one right now. They're at Duke, and so just coming out to support her for her first game.
That is a 3. That is
the paint there, and still being able to impact that shot.
Remember, she had 10 blocks versus Abilene Christian last season. On the drive, Hailey Van Lith with the right hand. So sometimes we can't see. There's Hailey again.
That little right hand layup.
Lost it off her fingertips. Up ahead. Bashora lost it.
And one thing that's going to be a key for New Orleans is taking care of the ball. The unforced turnovers is something that they really have to do a better job of.
2 for 2 shooting. Van Lith for 3. Splash!
Multiple players touching the ball, flipping sides of the court.
4 shots. TCU up 21-4 here in the first. I like to see TCU how quick hands. Their hands are always up. There's another touch. Van Lith comes out, up ahead. This should be an easy 2 for Donovan Hunter. TCU's led by 36. Trying to go 2-0 on the season. Outside, rattled home the 3 by Hailey Van Lith. To tie her career high, can't get the 3. Van Lith, quick hands. Backs it up. Sedona parked underneath, got the easy 2. Prince again, sealed off perfectly against Jasmine Jones.
One thing Hailey talked about, again, just getting used to having a presence and a player who's...
She had a cut on her hand. They had to deal with it. Had it all wrapped up for the first couple of weeks, and now she's going to play tonight. Told me before the game she's anxious. Hailey Van Lith buries the 3. 12 to shoot. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Nice pass, Hailey Van Lith to Sedona Prince. Agnes, no place to go. Sedona Prince will check back into the lineup. Here is Hailey, pulls the trigger, buries it. That's a 2. Double-figure games, which is at 23 right now. Beautiful pass inside. Hailey Van Lith just threaded the needle for her 5th assist.
TC working on that execution.
Hailey Van Lith. The floater with a left hand, got it. In the corner, Sedona can't get it, but Donovan Hunter does. Up ahead, Hailey Van Lith, count the basket and a foul.
She scored the last 6 points. Now 15 on the day, looking for the assist, and she's got it to Prince.
Looks like TCU's given up some shots right now to just really work on it. Hailey Van Lith pull up 3 off the bounce. That's beautiful.
3-point attempts a game. They make 10, and they're on fire already this afternoon.
They're on pace for...
At Hawaii, also has officiated the Olympics, the WNBA, joined by Kevin Bethel and Iffy Seals, and the 3 for Incarnate Word. That'll be their 9th. And have that against TCU. Van Lith, step through, left hand, off the glass. How pretty was that?
The type of skill that she had, especially, you know, on the, like, their guard like to be 6'7", and so that's something that she definitely brings to the W.
Right there we saw what made Sedona Prince special. Count the basket and a foul for Hailey Van Lith. Sedona Prince was on a full stride, trying to be the first one down the floor. That's impressive, especially in that BYU game. She's tough. She's a tough cookie.
Yeah, you know, I talked about in the open how he right on the offensive glass, but Speak is one as well.
Sweet shot.
I think she's really settled in. She didn't shoot at the best. I think you'll see that in her offensive numbers. You see right here, she's looking up, looking for Sedona. A beautiful pass. That's a playmaker right there. Yeah, he said they've got about 8 starters. You know, they have the 5 that started the game today, and then they have Agnes, Una, and Aaliyah, who are really, you know, instrumental for this team.
Sedona Prince was
trying to get another possession. Really good job there.
Last 3 games, Casey Spink has averaged over 10.5 points and just almost 5 rebounds a game. Hailey Van Lith.
And especially when you have, teammates like TCU that's getting up and down the floor.
Hailey on the drive, counted, and she'll go to the line.
Hailey attacks so deep.
Madison Connor, her first miss from the floor today. But they still get the 3. So Carlson's got 3 points in the ball game with 60 seconds left in the third. Van Lith again, buries the 2. There's Donovan Hunter, the transfer from Oregon State out of Medford, Oregon. Member of the Pac-12 all-freshman team last season. Van Lith. We had the perfect angle for that shot. It's time to get it to Perry in the corner. Madison Connor with it. This is where they want to push it. They want to make people uncomfortable. Hailey Van Lith off the glass, got it.
And, if you don't get back on transition defense, TCU is the type of team that's going to run you up and down.
TCU on a 14-2 run on the layup by Hailey Van Lith.
Just like that, getting it up in transition, finding Hailey on her strong left-hand side.
He wears a little cancer emblem on his jersey, but Jesse is a survivor. He gets a clean slate, and we're just so happy for him. He's one of the really good guys.
Yeah, for sure. Doing what...
Van Lith, pick and roll game, takes it herself, pull up shot, and the J goes for Hailey Van Lith. An assist per game at 6.5. What a start for TCU. And now Prince gets the takeaway as well. Connor leading the break, looks it off to Agnes Eminopu. Through the lane, sets up Van Lith. Feet set, fires it in.
They don't care who gets it. They don't care who scores. They want to get the best high percentage shot.
That's 15 assists on 18 made baskets. Van Lith out of the corner, another assisted basket, this time
on the floor for her team.
Bigby out of the corner. Offensive rebound, Agnes Eminopu. Sets up Van Lith. How's the shoulder? Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
No worries.
Sanford showing some trap for the first time this season.
Yeah, this game, they're going to pull out some things that they've been working on in practice but haven't played in a game with, and so just trying to see how that all works out.
Better and better as you see Hailey Van Lith continuing to operate for TCU. Stetson back to Godbolt, late in the shot clock now for the Bulldogs. Godbolt around the high screen. Van Lith with the swat. She can do it all.
You'll see just playing really good defense, going up with that right hand, and then being able to get back down the floor and find Deasia Merrill.
And we say she doesn't, but that's 9 blocks on the season. That is a really good number for a guard, almost a block per game. And at 5
I don't think that they're using Bowman as much as they would like to, but everybody is really stepping up.
And Bowman comes away with the offensive rebound, but Van Lith swipes it from the backside.
And that's why Bowman doesn't really like going against the little guards, because they like to get their hands on balls.
Hailey Van Lith skips it out to Agnes Eminopu. Could not be more wide open, and she drops it out of the corner.
The work that she put in last year, the consistency that she's shown, and just coming in every day with a great attitude, ready to help her team.
Van Lith, that was HVL. Outside, Hunter spots up for 3. Yes!
You love getting that to knock down, especially with the clock winding down.
I mean, it's arguably the night's 3 most important players.
Van Lith, as tough move, little English off the glass with the left hand from the southpaw. 95 ticks before the half. Connor catching fire, the 3. Offensive rebound certainly was. Back out it comes. Van Lith is able to knock it home.
And the turnover. This is where TCU excels, especially with Hunter running the show. Van Lith uses the body. Goes under the screen. Usually that's a mistake. Van Lith will try it again. Makes him pay with a 3. Connor. Jackson did a nice job of closing before she was able to launch the 3. Van Lith. Shuffle inside. Sedona Prince. She's got 9 in the first half.
Yeah, that's probably a point of contention of trying to get some fouls on TCU there in the paint and get themselves to the free throw line.
They average 18 makes a game. Van Lith launches the three, and she's got it.
See just movement on that backside. Madison Connor set a screen there on Jackson to get Hailey Van Lith just finding her way in the paint.
And a 6-0 run for Cincinnati. Eminopu underneath, count it. She goes to double figures with 10.
Big B kicks it out to Hunter in the corner. Van Lith will go dribble through the lane. A little fadeaway shot is good.
That is a tough shot as she got so deep into the paint.
For Kansas, a 3-point lead here in what could be the final possession of the quarter. Van Lith to Prince down the lane. Good catch, good finish. And trims the margin to 1. Van Lith being hounded by Canessa. 3 is up and down, shook free of the defender, knocks down the 3. Hailey Van Lith.
And it was Van Lith who came in and disrupted that opportunity for the Jayhawks to get a rebound that gave TCU that extra chance.
Van Lith feeling it now, knocks down the wing 3.
Facing the ball and completely turn around without dribbling, not traveling, and scoring the basketball.
She might have got a hand on that tip pass as well. Van Lith through traffic and good.
So, you know, if anybody wants to assign me a game out of Colorado, I'm up for it.
You do run the risk of weather there as well. Van Lith on the drive.
Samaya Nichols is actually defending Prince, but they're switching. That's how she got on her.
Rubbed off the screen to Van Lith and draws the and 1. Canessa sliding over late, but off the screen, Van Lith with the and 1.
And Van Lith let out a yell after this one. Sedona Prince noticing that
sometimes players are better coming off the bench when they can kind of settle in and see how the game flow is. Jazz will come in and have an impact.
There's the ball movement we talked about. Nice assist from Madison Connor. Blacklock, that's a tough cover for her. Van Lith, and she gets the roll.
Yeah, that's a tough switch, and Van Lith knew it.
Van Lith able to turn the corner. Fritz on defense, count the basket, and Hailey will go to the line.
She's just really good at understanding in ball screens, like when there's a switch, when there's a hedge, how to attack it, getting downhill.
That was against Colorado, and they still won by 13. And from the outside, Hailey Van Lith again. Starting out of the first quarter is big for the Knights. Nice pass inside. Sedona Prince did her work early. UCF has been outscored 24.4. Eminopu, shot clock at 8. Van Lith over Stedman, buries it. Another 3.
Still a big lead here for the Horned Frogs. Van Lith behind the screen. She shoves it up and rolls it down. Coming off 6 threes. 4th team foul on Utah. Van Lith open for 3, rains it in from the corner. And the Horned Frogs continue to hit. They've made their last 6 buckets. Timeout taken by Utah here. It'll just be a quick stoppage rather.
And Utah, this is the type of team that we're used to seeing shooting it from the 3-point line.
Utes have made it a 9-point game. Hailey Van Lith makes it a 12-point game.
Point line. But when you have Van Lith on your team, you're in a good.
Could have made it a 7-point game. Would have been the closest in the second half. Again, pick and roll. Prince delivers. Porter picks up her 4th now.
They get a hard screen. She always sets hard screens so that.
Prince sets the screen. Van Lith turns the corner this time. She is fouled and it falls for the Olympian, Hailey Van Lith.
So I talked about earlier, just elite ability to use the ball. So here's the ball screen, and then just the strong drive. And now had the help rotated over. If Heward had come over against her, but Magassa's not a threat on the perimeter, so you can't bring Prince out with you.
Van Lith gets a second shot at it and rattles it home. 7 to shoot for Van Lith. Hard hedge by Egareva. Van Lith gets by her anyway and finishes with the left hand.
Egareva tries to hold her and keep her in that ball screen, but that constant attack.
Send it back in bounds, right to Heward, who drives. Her shot is blocked, Van Lith now in transition for TCU. Pitches it to Hunter. Hunter took what seemed like a bunch of steps, but is able to finish on the right side in a crazy sequence there.
Van Lith and Prince. One hesitation and swish. The three-point arc has been wide open for TCU.
Great defense right there by Merrill, just playing behind Crooks. The way she's played behind and guarded her throughout the entire game. But Crooks, you can tell she's getting a little more winded. Great take right there by Hailey Van Lith. When she has a defender on her side, she has that next acceleration mode to just take her off the dribble. And TCU using it to its advantage.
We thought this would be a good one, and it absolutely has been. It has not felt like a double-digit lead from us, but Van Lith says, yeah, bye-bye.
Dangerous pass across the front row of the TCU defense, and a turnover by Kansas State. Van Lith, fancy step and a finish. Drive and a finish by Van Lith.
One-on-one isolations. You can't leave shooters. That gives them Dell so much room to operate.
Third 20-point game of the season for the point guard of the Cats. Great fight, Van Lith, a fastball to Prince.
Remember that number because TCU is 10-1 when she scores 9 or more. Delaney Gibb tried to force it into Whining, the first turnover of the ball game, and that's kind of been a problem at times for BYU. Madison Connor can't shoot and buries.
She has hit a couple from range. Arizona with its first lead of the game. Van Lith in the lane. There's just nothing you can do about that, Joan.
And she's a southpaw going to her left.
Lauren Swan. You know why? Because Lauren was too close to the basket. Get behind that three-point line, Lauren. All alone at the rim. And Merrill's not going to miss from there. Paulina Paris continues to impress with 14, but the Horned Frogs don't mess around on the offensive end.
The float game is short, and another board for Prince. Here comes Van Lith. Beautiful dump off, and the two is there for Hunter. The vision of Hailey Van Lith.
Not the right way to defend that by Skinner. She should have stepped up a little sooner to stop Van Lith because she had her teammates behind her. But when you don't, this is what happens. Hailey Van Lith pushes.
The quote-unquote experts expected coming into this game. Here's Van Lith, pick and roll. Prince finishes with the right hand. Another dime from Van Lith, just right. Brown throws it away. Van Lith will run the floor. Hesitate, keep a low dribble. Kick over to the corner. Big B to the lane. Layups there.
Van Lith for three. Beats the buzzer. Nods to the crowd here in Fort Worth. And now her teammates greet her at midcourt. Great quarter for TCU.
For all the talk of TCU and what they've been able to do offensively, the defense has not been too shabby here against West Virginia.
Another basket for Van Lith.
But definitely will impact West Virginia the rest of this game.
Van Lith with the finish. Beautiful handle.
Not ready when she's had the opportunity. She's been able to pick apart the West Virginia. I'm still going to go back to her passing today. It's been really on point.
But she says, hang on a second.
Half-court defense, the change of pace, her ball handling has kept.
Van Lith. Nice switch by Boston. Van Lith just takes her off the dribble easily with a left-handed layup. So far, he's been right.
He really has. They're trying to get possessions where they can, and that's exactly what they need to do.
Madison always lets the game come to her. Doesn't try to force the threes. Van Lith three, nothing but the bottom of the net for her 50th of the year. Goes knocking down the three.
Madison Connor 3 from 6 here. She really is. She's a three-layer scorer. And again, they're going to need a lot of players to contribute, 4 to be in double figures.
Van Lith again blows by the defense for the easy layup. Houston, they didn't hit a field goal the last 2:49, and they're down by a dozen.
The way Baylor shows up for that basketball team, and you know TCU's going to come in there and fight. Already has 1 win against them this year.
Hailey Van Lith again.
Slow start there, 1 for 9. Prince make it 4 mid-range jumpers in a row.
Yeah,
Big-time scorer, transfer from Florida.
Once again, Van Lith and Sedona Prince just playing the offense so well. It really does feel like they have played together for a long time. They have such great chemistry.
Here's Van Lith all the way to the hoop on the right side for the natural lefty. Second quarter for the Horned Frogs. Andrews gets denied. Hailey Van Lith sends that one back. Van Lith going to her strong left hand, gets all the way to the rim and count it.
From Hailey Van Lith. It started on the defensive end, though. How about that block from 10 and purple? And then watch how she just attacks her defender. She uses her body to protect.
Can't complete the three-point play, and it remains a 4-point lead for TCU here in Waco. Walker again gets it sent back by Hailey Van Lith, her second block of the game.
Answering on the offensive end. The reason Hailey Van Lith is so good within this offense is because she's patient. And she can do things like that. I talk about she's a rhythm shooter. The step back three, that is just hard to defend. Huge bucket right there for Hailey Van Lith.
That game was relatively tight. Final score was 63-50. Low scoring game, tight game, as you mentioned. Tough place to play in Fort Worth. Van Lith knocks down the three. Prince got knocked down. Foul called on Colorado, so they'll count the back.
Colorado continues to try to ice that on-ball screen, but as soon as the ball's given up, you see the great cut by Hailey Van Lith.
And the great pass by Sedona Prince and a chance for a three-point play.
A little give-and-go action by the Horned Frogs. Hailey Van Lith.
Prince to Van Lith, 6 on the shot clock. Van Lith, tough shot. She makes tough shots. 22 for Van Lith. To the basket. Couldn't get it.
We're seeing so far West Virginia's able to get all the way to the rim, just not consistently knocking them down.
Van Lith for three.
Mark Kellogg is watching him and waiting for the offensive call and then setting his defense right now.
Winnerly gambled on Van Lith, couldn't get there, and Van Lith found Robertson and the foul.
Here's the handoff.
Van Lith has it, drops it back down to Prince. Those two work so well together. It seems like they're always on the same page. Back to Van Lith to Hunter. Hunter kicks it to Van Lith. Open three. Hailey Van Lith for three.
Well, Hailey Van Lith is the benefactor of Hunter's draw penetration defense.
Jordan Thomas on the floor. Prince rolls to the basket, finishes again. Van Lith with the assist, shaking her head, saying no one can stop this combination.
Eric, expect player to player from Baylor. They want to try to keep the ball out of Hailey Van Lith's hands and make others score.
Donovan Hunter gets the first shot and the first basket. She's been playing at the point. Two top teams in the Big 12 when it comes to rebounding margin. Huge edge for TCU. Prince underneath against Van Lith.
Well, Eric, Hailey Van Lith is not getting rattled by the double teams. Attacks, she has the 4 fouls.
There's Fauntleroy D'ing up on Van Lith. The entry pass. Prince against Van Lith for two.